Hello everyone, I'm Kana Taku. Today I want to talk about the level 42 and 43 in this book about how to write more scholarly papers in English. The goal of level 42 is to, if we decide to write more papers in English, then clearly demonstrate how our new writing is different from our previous writing. And the goal of level 43 is to use collaboration effectively so we can expand our opportunities to publish a lot of papers. So today's talk is pretty much about what I would recommend after we decide we're going to write a lot. When we write a lot, one thing we need to be careful about is salami slicing publication. It's not rare to have multiple perspectives to analyze the same dataset that needs to be separately presented for clarity of concepts for their own purposes. This means that we can start the writing and the publishing process with some parts of the data while still beginning the analysis of other aspects within the same dataset. This has a lot of advantages because when one has been delayed, you can pick up another portion and keep moving forward. Just because you haven't started new research yet or data collection is still ongoing, that doesn't mean that you don't have anything to write and move forward with. All you have to do is to clearly describe how the current writing is unique compared to all other work. Because there is no rule that we must publish one paper out of one dataset or one research project. Instead, each paper should have its own purposes and conclusions. A new publication should always be unique enough to focus or expand on previous research in order to warrant a separate publication instead of just spoon-feeding the same information in tiny pieces to look like as if we have so many unique publications when it was just one idea but repeatedly published with very few changes. And that is called salami slicing and should be avoided. We don't want to cut the data so thin just to brag that we created so many pieces, which will make each of our work less important. With the similar reasons why our work should build on our previous work, citing every single publication that we have ever published is not cool. Sometimes people are trying to artificially inflate own citations through binge citing all the publications. This kind of self-citation happens because it can inflate our own citation records and skew the index. For example, the H-index is something we look at to review researchers' records. It means how many publications you have been cited the same number of times. You can find it from Google Scholar. For example, my H-index today is 27, meaning I have 27 papers that have been cited by other researchers at least 27 times. Similarly, there is an I-10 index, which tells you how many of our papers have been cited at least 10 times. Mine is, for example, 46, meaning I have 46 papers that were cited by at least 10 times. These numbers are not that important and not likely to be a deal breaker to get a job or promotion, but they can be reviewed as a tiny piece of many other information. That's why some researchers may use self-citation to skew these numbers. But realistically, citing a couple of works of our own should give the reader enough background to see where we are coming from. And you know what? Although our publication may be anonymously reviewed, if we cite a lot of our own work, reviewers will most likely guess who might be the author. So we should be selective in what is most salient to our work in the reference section. I'm not saying we should not cite our own study. It's absolutely necessary to cite our own studies to show how current paper relates to our own previous work, especially when we use the same dataset to publish multiple papers. We just need to be selective. And then one more thing I just want to mention is the importance of expanding research network. I've learned all of these by working with other researchers. By collaborating with others, we can increase opportunities to write more. Of course, not all collaboration works well, but that's all right. Instead of being shy, if you want to work with somebody, reach out. For me, because typing others' articles is always my everyday routine, whenever I find inspiring papers, I just keep typing the same author's different papers and eventually reach out and invite them to contribute to my book or research. Sometimes they decline, sometimes they ignore, but sometimes they accept. I have many researchers who I never met in person or even heard their voice and yet worked so well for various projects. And I like that. So I highly recommend not to be afraid of being rejected or ignored, and instead just reach out and gain opportunities to expand the network. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.